I got some people fired up on Facebook this afternoon. Give this a second, and then we'll go live. Let's see here. Shouldn't have an issue tonight. Hopefully not. I actually have internet out here now, which is cool. But we're going to go ahead and get after this thing. You guys check out this new hat. All right, we got these coming from Mount Dora Laser Printing. They're awesome. I did some more for you guys. We'll get them up on our website, get them for sale. I got a few of these for sample, and they're pretty awesome. Nice leather patch, Richardson 112. Hoping I can get some more of these orange camo, as well as some other awesome colors. But we'll see. Thank you for Laser Printing for getting us these hats, these samples, and we'll get some more in stock on the website and out to you guys. It's going to be awesome. All right. Okie dokie. Hopefully we can keep this thing going all night long and be good to go, and then that won't be an issue. But, all right. This week's episode is brought to you by Deep Roots Rifle Company, elevated excellence rooted in integrity and reliability. Hop over to their website listed in the podcast description and check out all their offerings from a fully custom rifle built in-house to duck and turkey decoys and everything in between. And make sure you use code UPO10 at checkout to get 10% off your next order. I need to get on their website and probably order some turkey stuff. Because as we're going to discuss tonight, I'm not a good turkey hunter. But before we get into that, let's talk about that suppressor webinar going on over there at Deep Roots Rifle Company. They still have plenty of spots available for the B&T SRBS 762 suppressor webinar. And they're $25 a piece, so they're a lot cheaper than the pistol was last go around. And there's only 40 spots as opposed to 50, so the odds are pretty good. I mean, maybe spend $200. That's what you would have spent on a tax stamp had they not just recently done away with that as of this year. So they're advertising a suppressor in stock. So that in and of itself is pretty awesome. I'd hop over there and get you some of those tickets and see what you can get from. The link is in the podcast description, by the way, and the video description here. So let me start this episode by saying something that might immediately disqualify me in the eyes of some turkey hunters. I'm not good at turkey hunting. I've never been shy about it. I'll tell you to your face, I suck at it. I'm not pretending to be humble, and I'm not setting you up for a surprise. But actually, I'm really good, twist. I'm just saying it straight. I suck. I struggle with turkeys. And if you're listening to this thinking, why am I taking advice from someone who admits that? Good. That's exactly the point of this episode. Because turkey season is coming, and every single year around this time, the internet fills up with the same content, the same highlight reels, the same slow motion shots of strutting gobblers, and we've got our fair share. And the same guys somehow kill a longbeard on opening morning every year like it's routine. And meanwhile, there's a massive group of hunters, good hunters, sitting there thinking, man, what am I missing? That's who this episode's for. This is not a masterclass. This is not a how-to. This is not me pretending I've cracked some code. This is a confession. Because I can hunt. I can scout. And I can sit still. I understand wind, sign, terrain, animal behavior, but put me in the spring woods with a turkey call in my mouth, and suddenly I'm a liability. And I know I'm not alone. Turkey hunting has a way of exposing you. It doesn't care about your resume. It doesn't care what you killed last season. It doesn't care how long you've been hunting. Turkeys will humble you in a way that almost no other animal does. And I think the reason we don't talk about that enough is because admitting your struggle with turkeys feels like admitting you don't belong at the table. So let's get this out in the open. I have called in turkeys that never showed, had birds hang up at 80 yards and gobble their heads off, watch gobblers walk the exact opposite direction of logic, been busted by birds I never saw, and blown hunts doing things I never knew better than to do. And if you're nodding right now, congratulations. You're normal. Because turkey hunting is weird. It's the only type of hunting where you intentionally make noise, then freeze like a statue and hope the animal does everything right. It's the only hunt where you're actively trying to convince a wild animal to come looking for you. And it's the only hunt I know where confidence can hurt you faster than ignorance. See, when you're bad at turkey hunting, you tend to do one of two things. You either A, give up on it entirely and say turkey are stupid, or B, pretend you're better than you are and blame everything else. And I've done both. I didn't hunt turkeys for many years, and I'm back at it again. And I'm going to go this year. I've got hunts, and I try at least once a year now. I blamed pressure. I blamed weather. I blamed other hunters. I've blamed bad luck. I'll still blame bad luck to this day. And sometimes those things are real, but sometimes the truth is simpler. Sometimes the turkey just won. And that's hard for hunters to say out loud, because most of us were raised on the idea that if you do everything right, you'll be successful. Turkey hunting laughs at that idea. You can do everything right and still eat tag soup. You can make the perfect call sequence, set up perfectly, stay perfectly still, and still watch a bird hang up just out of range and leave his hens and leave with his hens like you never existed. And that messes with your head. Especially if you're a competent hunter in other seasons. Because you start asking dangerous questions. Why can't I figure this out? Why does this seem easy for everyone else? Am I missing something obvious? And then here's the thing. Here's the first big confession of this episode. One of the reasons I struggle with turkey hunting is because I try too hard to be good at it. I bring expectations into the woods. I can bring ego into the woods. I bring the idea that I should be able to figure this out. And turkeys don't tolerate that. Deer will forgive small mistakes. Hogs will forgive big mistakes. Predators will sometimes just get curious. Turkeys forgive nothing. They don't come in just because you called pretty. They don't follow predictable paths, and they don't care about your plan. They operate on their own terms. And that's why turkey hunting feels so personal when it goes wrong. Because when you mess up deer hunting, you can usually point to something tangible. Bad wind, wrong stand, bad timing. When you mess up turkey hunting, it feels like the woods just rejected you. And that stings, especially when it happens over and over and over and over again. So if you're listening to this episode hoping I'm about to tell you the secret call or the magic setup or the one trick that changes everything, that's not what this is. See, and there you go. AJ, I said that excuse. It's other hunters every time in old pickup trucks. He did mess that one up. That was totally that guy. I'm blaming that one on him, 100%. This episode is about the reality of turkey hunting for the average hunter. The guy who works all week, the guy who maybe gets a few mornings in the woods, the guy who isn't chasing content but just wants to have a good hunt. It's about admitting that turkey hunting is hard. Harder than it looks. Harder than people admit. And that struggling with it doesn't make you a bad hunter. In fact, I'd argue it makes you a more honest one. In the next part of this episode, I want to get into the specific ways that turkey hunting exposes bad habits, mine included. The things we do because we're bored. The things we do because we're nervous. And the things we do because we don't trust the process. Because if turkey season teaches you anything, it teaches you patience isn't optional. And humility is mandatory. If turkey hunting has taught me anything, it's this. Those are geese. I don't know if you can hear them or not. Not turkeys. My neighbor's got geese, and it's breeding season. I guess what they said. I don't know much about geese. If turkey hunting has taught me anything, it's this. Most of the damage happens after you hear the first gobble. That moment right there, that's where discipline goes to die. Because the second a turkey gobbles, something changes in your brain. Your heart rate spikes, your confidence spikes, your common sense quietly packs up and hits the road. And for bad turkey hunters like me, that's where the wheels usually just come right on off. Let's start with the most obvious confession. I've tended to overcall. Not because I don't know better, not because I don't understand what silence can do. I overcall because you get bored. Because sitting still in the spring woods with nothing happening feels unbearable. Because calling feels like doing something. And doing something feels productive, even when it isn't. I've read the advice. You've read the advice. Call sparingly. Let the turkey come to you. Less is more. That all sounds great. Until the bird gobbles back immediately. Because now you're having a conversation. And once you're in the conversation, silence feels awkward. So you answer him again, and again, and again. And before you know it, you've turned a curious gobbler into a suspicious one. Turkey hunting punishes boredom. Deer hunting lets you sit and think. Turkey hunting dares you to sit and do nothing. That's why one of my biggest pieces of advice is get a solid turkey chair. And that's harder than it sounds. Another confession is I move when I shouldn't, and I've done that more often than I care to admit. I know turkeys see movement better than anything else in the woods, and I know their eyesight is ridiculous. I know better. And yet, I've still shifted when I thought he couldn't see me. Adjusted my gun when I thought he was behind a tree, turned my head just a little too much because I thought I had time. Turkey hunting doesn't give you time. Deer offer windows. Turkey offer fractions of a second. And if you take one you're not supposed to, you pay for it. What makes this worse is that turkey hunting feels active. You're listening, you're calling, you're anticipating. So when nothing happens for a few minutes, your brain tells you the setup is wrong. You convince yourself he must be hung up. He must have moved. I probably can't see him from here. And instead of trusting the setup, you break it. That's a reoccurring theme in my turkey seasons. Breaking things that didn't need fixing. Another habit turkeys expose brutally is impatience disguised as confidence. You hear a gobble and think, I got this. You picture the bird strutting in, you imagine the shot, and you start planning how you tell the story, and that's when you lose. Because turkey hunting punishes outcome-based thinking. The moment you hunt the result instead of the process, you rush. You cut corners, you force interactions, you try to make something happen. Turkeys don't respond well to being rushed. They respond to comfort, and comfort takes time. Here's the hard truth I've learned the slow way. Just because a turkey gobbles doesn't mean he's coming. That sounds obvious, but we don't hunt like this. A gobble doesn't mean interest. It doesn't mean commitment. It doesn't mean progress. Sometimes it just means he's letting everyone know where he is. And when you mistake sound for intent, you get reckless. You move closer when you shouldn't. You call louder when you shouldn't. And you assume distance is the problem when patience is the problem. I've done it all. Another thing turkey hunting exposes is how bad we are sitting with uncertainty. Deer hunting gives you patterns, predictability, routine. Turkey hunting gives you chaos. One day they respond, the next day they don't. One setup works perfectly, the next one fails miserably. And instead of accepting that unpredictability, bad turkey hunters try to control it. We change calls too fast. We change locations too fast. Change strategies too fast. Because uncertainty makes us uncomfortable. Silence makes us uncomfortable. Waiting makes us uncomfortable. Turkeys thrive in that discomfort. Maybe the biggest confession of all is sometimes I hunt turkeys like I'm trying to prove something. That I'm competent. That I belong. That I can figure it out. Instead of hunting turkeys like I'm trying to learn something, turkey hunting doesn't reward pride. It rewards humility. It rewards sitting still when every instinct says, move, staying quiet when you want to call, trusting a setup longer than feels reasonable. And if I'm being honest, that's where I struggle most because being still isn't passive. It's active restraint. And restraint is harder than action. Now I want to talk about the mental side of turkey hunting, the frustration, the comparison game, and why turkey hunting feels like it messes with your confidence more than any other season. Because if you've ever walked out of the woods after a blown turkey hunt, feeling worse than when you walked in, you're not weak, you're just human. And turkeys know exactly how to exploit that. There's a mental side to turkey hunting that doesn't get talked about enough. Not because people don't feel it, but because admitting it feels like weakness. Turkey hunting messes with your head, and it does it quietly. There's no loud failure, no obvious mistakes you can point to, no clear explanation most of the time. You just walked out of the woods empty-handed, replaying everything in your mind. What you said, where you sat, when you moved, what you should have done differently. And the worst part is you usually don't know which one of those things actually mattered. So your brain fills in the blanks. You start second-guessing everything. Was I too aggressive? Not aggressive enough? Did I call wrong? Did I set up wrong? And eventually the doubt starts showing up before the hunt even starts. You walk in already unsure of yourself. That's dangerous because confidence in turkey hunting is a weird thing. Too much confidence makes you careless. Too little confidence makes you reactive. And finding that balance is hard, especially when you're already struggling. Another thing turkey hunting does better than any other season, it invites comparison. Spring hits, and suddenly your social feeds are full. Opening morning birds, long beards flopping, smiling faces behind tail fans. And if you're sitting there thinking, man, I haven't even heard a gobble yet, that stuff gets heavy. Because no one posts the silent mornings. No one posts the birds that hung up. No one walks back to the truck questioning their life choices. No one posts a walk back to the truck questioning their life choices anyway. So when you're not killing turkeys, it starts feeling like you're the only one. Like everyone else has this figured out and you don't. That's a lie. It's a convincing one. And it leads to one of the most destructive habits in turkey hunting, chasing other people's success. You start trying to set up, you start trying setups that don't fit you, calling styles that don't feel natural, tactics you don't understand yet, unless you're trying to shortcut confidence, and turkeys punish shortcuts. Another mental trap is urgency. Turkey seasons are short. Mornings feel precious. Every hunt feels like it's hard, has to work. So instead of letting hunts unfold, you force them. You hunt scared of running out of time. And fear-based hunting rarely works. I've walked into the woods already stressed, already thinking about how many days I have left. What if I don't tag one this year? What if I blow this opportunity? That mindset doesn't make you sharper. It makes you impatient. It makes you It makes you move too soon. It makes you call when you should be quiet. And turkey hunting exposes emotional discipline, not just physical discipline. And that's uncomfortable, especially if you're used to success in other seasons, because failure in turkey hunting feels personal. It feels like the woods are telling you something about yourself. And if you're not careful, you start believing it. You start labeling yourself, I'm just bad at this. I don't have the patience. I don't have the knack. Those labels are poison. They follow you into the next hunt. And once they're there, every setback feels like confirmation. But here's something I've had to remind myself, and maybe you need to hear it too. Struggling with turkeys doesn't mean you're incapable. It means you're being challenged in a way you're not used to. Turkey hunting strips away excuses, and you can't blame distance, you can't blame cover, you can't blame darkness. If a turkey doesn't come in, it's usually because he didn't feel like it. And that lack of control messes with you. Especially those of us hunters who pride themselves on preparation and execution. Turkey hunting doesn't always reward preparation. Sometimes it rewards patience. Sometimes it rewards luck. Sometimes it rewards doing nothing at all. And that's a hard pill to swallow. Another confession. There have been seasons where turkey hunting made me question whether I even enjoyed it. Not because I hated being in the woods, but because the constant near misses wore me down. Because it felt like I was always close, but never close enough. And that emotional roller coaster takes a toll. You start hunting tense, listening too hard, expecting failure, and turkeys sense that energy. Maybe not literally, but your decisions change. You rush, you overthink, and you stop trusting your instincts. That's why turkey hunting is such a mental grind. It's not just about fooling a bird, it's about managing yourself, your expectations, your emotions, your ego. And when you don't manage those things well, like I often haven't, the season becomes exhausting instead of enjoyable. Let's talk about what turkey hunting has actually taught me. Not in terms of tactics and not in terms of gear, but in terms of mindset. How being bad at turkey hunting has me to slow down, to redefine success, and to stop tying my confidence to whether or not a bird ends up on the ground. Because if turkey hunting teaches you anything, It's that you don't always win, but you can always learn. Somewhere along the way, turkey hunting forced me to redefine what success actually looks like. Not because I wanted to, but because the old definition wasn't working anymore. For a long time, success meant one thing, a punch tag. If I didn't kill a turkey, the hunt didn't count. The morning was a failure. The season felt wasted. And that mindset made turkey hunting miserable because turkey hunting doesn't care about your definitions. It doesn't hand out participation trophies. It doesn't reward effort. It doesn't guarantee results. So eventually I had to change the way I looked at it. I had to stop asking, did I kill a bird? And start asking, did I hunt better today than I did last time? That shift didn't make me kill more turkeys overnight. In fact, I still haven't killed one. But it made me want to go back. Success started looking like sitting longer without calling, trusting a setup instead of abandoning it, letting a gobbling bird walk away without chasing him, walking out of the woods calmer than I walked in. Those don't make highlight reels, but they make better hunters. Another thing turkey hunting has taught me is how to be comfortable with incomplete outcomes. You don't always get closure in turkey hunting. There's no trail to follow, no sign to read after the fact, just a memory of what happened or didn't. And learning to sit with that uncertainty has bled into other parts of hunting. I've become more patient in deer season, more deliberate in my setups, and less reactive overall. Because turkeys punished those flaws until I had no choice but to acknowledge them. Being bad at turkey hunting also reminded me of why I started hunting in the first place. Not for validation, not for content, not to prove anything, but for mornings in the woods, for quiet moments, for the challenge. Turkey hunting strips down to its most raw form. Turkey hunting strips the hunt down to its most raw form. No blind, no long sits, no long shots. Just you, a call, and a bird that owes you nothing. And if I'm honest, that probably is why it gets under my skin so much. Because there's nowhere to hide. Every mistake feels amplified. Every success feels earned. And that uncomfortable, but also that's uncomfortable, but it's also addictive. Because on the rare mornings when everything lines up, when a bird commits, and when he finally closes the distance, and when my pays off, there's going to be nothing like it. One good turkey hunt is going to erase all those seasons worth of frustration, and that's dangerous because it's what keeps me coming back. Another lesson turkey hunting has forced on me is humility. And there's always someone better than you at this. There's always something you don't understand yet. And pretending otherwise only slows your growth. Admitting I'm not good at turkey hunting didn't make me weaker. It made me more open, more willing to listen, more willing to learn, more willing to fail without making excuses. And maybe that's the real value of turkey season. It humbles experienced hunters. It exposes shortcuts. It punishes ego. And if you let it, it makes you better. Not just at turkey hunting, but hunting in general. So if you're heading into the turkey season feeling frustrated or intimidated or already convinced you're behind, you're not alone. Struggling with turkeys doesn't mean you don't belong. It means you're in the arena. It means you're doing the work. And if nothing else, turkey hunting will teach you this. Success isn't always measured by what you carry out of the woods. Sometimes it's measured by what you leave behind. The impatience, the ego, the need to control everything. And if you can walk out of the spring woods lighter than you walked in, that hunt mattered. As turkey season kicks off, I'm not promising success. I'm not promising filled tags. What I am promising is honesty. I'll share what works, I'll share what doesn't, and I'll share the mistakes as openly as the wins. And you guys know I'm good for that. Because turkey hunting doesn't need more experts. It needs more real conversations. And if being a bad turkey hunter gives me a seat at that table, I'll take it. So good luck this season and stay patient. Let's see here. Matt says, last season he hunted an old tom every morning for 2 weeks. He moved between 3 different roost trees in the same area every day. He'd watch him fly down opposite direction each time. They're unpredictable, man. Drive you crazy. That's a couple seasons ago. I've got the same hunt this year as I had a couple years ago. I'm excited. I'm hoping the birds are in the same area. It's funny because here I am. We just talked about that. I'm making this plan. I watched this bird roost. We knew what tree he was roosted in. We watched him come down in the mornings. The path that he walked was like perfect. If he walks this way, he's going to come right in front of us here. We'll hit him once on the roost. We know he's coming this way. We're going to be in the direction he wants to go. It's going to be perfect. We'll be there when he gets there. Show up that morning. He's in the tree 20 feet to my left. Not 200 yards to my right. and he hit the ground running away from me. I never made a sound. I walked in pitch dark, didn't use a flashlight, as to not, so he couldn't see me there. Nothing. He hit the dirt, gone. This year, though, I'm going to get him. We'll catch you guys next week. Oh, my goodness. Well, you guys have been great. Catch you next week. I'll let you know when these hats are available on our website. Get over there and get some tickets for that suppressor. Adios.